A very good morning to all of you. On behalf of Terry School of Advanced Studies and also on behalf of the UNCCD Corp 14, I would like to invite all of you and also welcome all of you to this session, the first morning session of the day, session on Green on My Plate, Our Food, Our Planet, Our Choice. Some of you, all of you are familiar with the UNCCD Corp 14, but some of you may not be familiar with the Terry School of Studies. So to start off with, we would show you a very brief video on Terry School of Studies and also to introduce to you what the institute is about. So may I request the Terry School video to be played?
Very vividly remember sitting in this room on July 25th, 2011 for my orientation session in this very room. I came here for an interdisciplinary program in management as well as policy. And I think I made the right choice.
It is a forward-looking university, and by virtue of being a research university focused on master's and PhD programs, we are able to take students with a strong foundation at the bachelor's level and then give them a more systemic and holistic perspective towards development.
Terry has been a research institution, been in existence for about 4 decades. Now it made sense to start a university, a degree granting university, where we could build capacities in the youth to really go out in the world and tackle these problems related to sustainable development. Started with just 2 programs on environmental studies and natural resources management. And then we've grown since then. And today we've got 13 master's programs and of course a very strong doctoral program.
Terry University is a research university and we lay a lot of emphasis on research.
The focus is more on bringing in interdisciplinarity in all of our programs.
Students are exposed to large number of field trips. They try to simulate the issues when they come back, and they discuss the entire problem from the lens of various disciplines, whether it is science, social science, economics, so all dimensions they take together.
I had a field trip to Agumbe, Karnataka, and I did a project on how a change in habitat from forest to plantation affects the diversity of butterflies.
I had done my study on water utilization and reutilization strategies. I feel so great about it.
We started a unique program on urban development and management in 2013, and this is the program being offered only in Terry University. Currently, a batch of our students are actually working with municipal corporations.
We are the first ones to start MBA in Business Sustainability and MBA in Infrastructure. We do not train managers, but the techno managers.
The Terry course, MA Public Policy and Sustainable Development, is the only course which combines both public policy and sustainable development. So this course definitely helps you in understanding policy making as well as analyzing a policy. And in that process, we have trained more than 100 civil servants.
I came to understand that TERI was the best place for me to learn about sustainability and development that I could bring back to my own country as knowledge.
Teachers here exceptionally well. They have some of our faculty, our international faculty, and they really, push ourselves further to do our main work in the field.
I'm a PhD scholar in this TERI University, and prior to that I was working. And when I came to TERI, I felt something like this campus had something interactive features with it, the faculties all around ready to help you along.
TERI University is working on two fronts. One is preparing the students for the current market, but at the same time preparing the market itself.
I've been associated with TERI for the last year and a half now. This is our third panel discussion we've done here for the students. Certainly there is a market available now for students who are going to be seeking jobs in this field in sustainability and corporate social responsibility.
Anywhere that you walk in the campus of TERI University, I think you'll smell green.
If you start with the design of TERI University campus itself, so it imbibes all the features of sustainability in this. We have commissioned a 48 kilowatt solar rooftop system.
Yes, I think we have a small campus, but I think our dreams are large.
You get ample enough of time to work over your, culture skills like photography, dancing, music, everything.
Ethnic day is like everyone from their background, they dress up, like whatever their culture is about, and it's really colorful.
We really don't feel like going back home.
That was the introduction into what TERI School of Advanced Studies is. May I now request Professor Shalin Singhal, Professor of Urban Sustainability, TERI School of Advanced Studies, to come and give the welcome address.
Good morning, friends. I again welcome you all to this session on behalf of TERI School of Advanced Studies and the convention organizers UNCCD. As you have seen, the title of the convention, which is referring as Green on My Plate, and there are three keywords: our food, our planet, and our choices. And if you look into these three key areas, we make our choices relating, first choice that we make relates to our food, and that has consequential impact on various elements of the nature, including the land, which is one of the key theme of this entire event, but also on several other resources such as water, forest, and linking to the global issues of climate change. TERI University has been focusing on various themes of, let's say, sustainable development goals. And in fact, most of the postgraduate programs that we have one or the other underlying theme linked to one or the other sustainable development goals. I actually think that this particular session and the discourse, and looking at the agenda from the very interesting panelists that we have, would be able to address some of the dilemmas in this particular theme of food, planet, and our choices. And some of the dilemmas that I see, for example, health versus harmful food that we consume, all for our current population, but also for the potential population to come. Hunger versus obesity. The gravity of problem in the for the rural population and also for the urban population. That's another area that perhaps we may address through some of the discussion during the panel. Looking at the production, management and consumption of food and taking a sustainability route to any of these which have greater impact on most of our resources, including the impact on land. And then comes all of this relating to our food choices. If we look at the footprint, a greater footprint is also because of the main constraint or the challenge of feeding our cities, which are also hotspots of the unsustainable patterns of consumption. And if we look at feeding our cities, particularly the nexus between water, food and energy is a major area that relates to the growing concern of food security, whether we are able to procure food from local, region and the catchment, or it is coming from distances. It is in fact a complex phenomena, and there are several boundaries of influence which are unknown even to the current research and discourse that is happening at the policy and the practice. Some of the alarming data that is already evident from very recent publication. I was going through some of the reports in the print media yesterday that relates that 8% of the greenhouse gases are coming from the food that is not consumed, produced but not consumed. And the amount of that relates to almost of 1/3 of the food that is produced goes uneaten. And some of the, let's say, constituent elements within that relate to the roots, the tubers, the fruits and vegetables. We are all a part of that. To end with this welcome address, I would also put a quote which mentions, reduce the intensity of production, undertake new patterns with reduced levels of consumption, and change what is consumed and by whom. This is a quote from Mahatma Gandhi, father of the nation. So I welcome all of you once again to this session on Green on My Plate, our food, our planet and our choices. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Shaleen. Before I give an introduction about this session, I would request my colleagues to play a short introductory video on food sustainability.
These days we keep saying, let's make in India, but we forget what we've already made in India. Festivals, cultures, whatever we do, whenever we celebrate, food is a very, very important part of that. At each point, there's a lot of food that's wasted. There's so much excess food that's wasted that there's no number in terms of how many people it can feed. All we know for a fact is that there is enough food for hunger to be eradicated.
It's very easy for us to go to a restaurant, order 5 dishes, and out of the 5 dishes, we eventually end up having maybe 3.5 or 4 dishes amongst us. We're not in a habit of sort of packing it. We don't do anything with it. Eventually, it lands up into a dustbin.
The entire concept of a big fat Indian wedding is world famous because of the culture, because of the stigma of cooking lavish food is really, really hitting the country today.
शादी ब्याहों में कम से कम 40 से 50% खाना वेस्ट जाता है। आज से 20-25 साल पहले ये सिस्टम नहीं था। अब सोसाइटी के प्रेशर में, सोशागिरी में ये चीज़ें बहुत हो गई हैं, इसलिए वेस्ट बहुत होता है।
It is a mammoth problem. We have about 82% of the hungry of the world living in developing countries. It's one of the sustainable goals of the UN now. So we have that sort of responsibility towards them, making sure that the food doesn't go into dustbins, it goes into us. So that is the reason why we started the Robin Hood Army. What's exciting to see is that we have so many restaurants who are on board. They'll always give me a call and they'll say that, you know, we have this event catering that is happening. Maybe this time we have some food left. We'll definitely love to contribute and participate. It's basically a farmer's hard work loss. So they've really realized that fact. They've woken up and everybody has been on board.
खाना तो खाने के लिए अगर कूड़ेदान में तो दुख ही होता है। और जैसे RHA हैं, रोटी बैंक है, कई संस्थाएं हैं, वो ले जाते हैं, वो बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं। कम से कम किसी का मुंह तो लगता है, कोई पेट तो भरता है।
I started feeding India as a mechanism to connect excess food to help people in need who don't have access to food. We get more than 2,000 calls a day.
Hi, I'm from Feeding India.
Yeah, hi. And we have people from all parts of the country, places which I didn't even hear of before, which are calling up to say that we have excess food. Why don't you come ahead and collect it?
Outside, we see their faces, we see in what sort of poverty situation they live in. They might not have 2 square meals a day. When we see all of that, you personally get so affected by it all.
In that one moment, like when they're taking and they're just smiling at you, so it just makes it all of it worth it. You know, it's just whatever effort, whatever time we put in, it just becomes just worth it. It's just the best way to put it. You can just.
Feeding India Adopted School had literally like 50 kids. Period of 6 months, we've noticed from 50 kids, there are now 120 children. You know, the attendance has increased just because of this food that they get in the school.
बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियां हैं, एम्प्लॉयर के लिए उनमें वहाँ खाना बनता है तो वो बच जाता है। तो फीडिंग इंडिया का मेन मकसद ये है कि वहाँ डस्टबिन में ना फेंके खाने को, वहाँ से लेके और यहाँ बच्चों में प्रोवाइड किया जाता है, जिससे बच्चों को मतलब संतुलित मात्रा में यहाँ पे अच्छा भोजन मिल सके।
हमें वो खाने को मिलता है जो हमें घर पे नहीं मिलता। मुझे यहाँ पे 1 हफ्ते में 1 बार छोले चावल खाने को मिलते हैं।
Even with all the number of organizations coming together, the impact that we're making in the whole scheme of things is less than 0.1%. I believe that it's a start. It's a start to something which might be big. And the more of us who come forward together, we might be able to do something which is unprecedented.
Sustainable consumption of cooked food is the way to go.
We need a social revolution.
खाने की लिमिट तय करनी चाहिए कि एक दाल, एक सब्जी बनेगी, उससे ज़्यादा नहीं बनेगा, चाहे वो गरीब की शादी हो, चाहे मिनिस्टर की शादी हो, किसी की भी।
We need to ensure that there is zero food waste. That's non-negotiable.
मैं अपनी थाली में चावल का एक दाना भी नहीं छोड़ता। खाना पेट के लिए होता है, डस्टबिन के लिए नहीं।
This was a small film that the Terry School of Advanced Studies produced along with support from United Nations Environment Program and also the European Union. A well-balanced diet is essential for both cognitive and physical development, and it ultimately contributes towards sustainable development of a nation. Today, hunger is considered as one of the biggest developmental challenges. We see the issue of hunger in various media, and also this issue has been discussed at various platforms. However, there is an increasing problem of malnutrition, especially among the urban population, arising not due to insufficient intake of food or not due to hunger, but because of a more unbalanced diet. In certain regions of the world, such as in South Asia, if you look at the normal diet, it has a higher proportion of plant protein and starchy vegetables. In fact, starchy vegetables is a lot more than the plant protein. And if you look at other regions, there are certain regions where the diet has higher quantities of animal protein and also of dairy products. And again, these are if you categorize the world into larger regions, but again, if you look at local regions, especially urban areas, you will find that the diet proportion is higher in sugar, carbohydrates, and fats. Imbalances in the dietary pattern leads to several dietary-related diseases. So on one hand, we have hunger, but on the other hand, we have a different type of malnutrition, which is affecting the urban populations, especially in the higher income regions. A large number of hungry people reside in India, and currently the statistics says that all over the world there are about 8 million hungry people. So out of these 8 million, most of these people are residing in India, and as per the current statistics, it shows that about 21% of India's adult population are hungry. And however, if you look at this percentage, this is a significant improvement from about 10 years back, where the number of hungry people, the percentage was about 35%. And if you look at these statistics, these trends are very positive in the context of hunger scenario in India, and of course for the overall food security and public health in general. However, they are offset by high growth rate in unbalanced and overconsumption of unhealthy diets, often leading to obesity and also other health-related issues. In fact, if you look at obesity is becoming it's increasingly becoming a major issue in India. If you look at the statistics, the number of obese people increased from 12% of the total population during the year 2005-2006 to currently about 20% in about 10 years' time. So this is the 20% is statistics from 2015-16. And if you look at the percentage of obese people in urban areas, it's about 30%, whereas in rural areas it's just half, 15%. And these numbers are same for cities like Delhi, where again the number of obese people, it's about 30%, which is again double that of underweight people living in Delhi. So that's providing the ever-growing population, whether it is rural or urban, with healthy diet remains one of the biggest global developmental challenges. There is an urgent need to transform the dietary habits towards a more plant-rich food, which will be beneficial for both humans and also for environmental health. Food needs to be nutritious, it has to be tasty and affordable, and also it should have less impact on the environment. So today, through this session, we would like to address the question of what is green food? In other words, what is sustainable food? And what are the ways in which we can move towards this sustainable food system. So we have two sessions. We have a panel